First off, we're at Bartlett Park right now, and what we've got going on is sandbags for anybody who needs sandbags. If they've got some concern about water intrusion into their home, come on out here. Our staff are doing a great job filling these things up in the cars. We're out in the Lake McGorry area. We still have a lot of flooding, and so we want to encourage people to try and stay away from bringing their vehicles into this area. We don't want people getting hurt or getting stuck. There is some other flooding, especially as tides rise. The water receding doesn't happen as quickly, so there's going to be some areas in the northern part of the city where you may see some flooding. So again, you don't have to drive through those areas. We're encouraging people not to do that. If you do have to, please take it slow, because the wake that you put out may be the wake that goes into someone's home, and we don't want to see that happen. Forecast is calling for some additional rain potentially this afternoon, and rains we had yesterday were some of the largest we've ever had. It was a lot of rain, and the city staff and public works and all the departments, I think, have really been working hard to try and do everything they can to keep sewage out of the streets and into people's homes, and keep our system operating as efficiently as we can. We've had to do a little bit of discharging. It's predominantly rainwater, so that's been what we've had a lot of. But we're doing everything we can to manage this storm to the best of our ability.
Talk more about the discharge. Do you have an idea of how much it's been and where it's being discharged?
Yeah, at this point in time, we have no numbers, and we won't have them really until this whole event is over. We don't want to put any numbers out that aren't accurate. It's been predominantly up in the Albert Whitted area, but we were able to, through a lot of hard work, get a couple storage tanks in the Albert Whitted complex with 3 million gallons of storage online 2 months earlier, so that's helped mitigate the issue. And then some of the investments that we've been doing have also, helped out. But again, when you get a significant rain event and the numbers that we saw yesterday, there's just a limited amount of what you can really do.
What kind of numbers are you talking about? How many inches in St. Pete?
Goodness, I've heard anywhere from 9 to 12 in that range. It's just been a lot of rain. And we're not the only ones getting hit by this. Every community in the Tampa Bay region right now is dealing with this. I know Largo and Gulfport, St. Pete Beach, Treasure Island, Tampa, all of these cities are all having to deal with systems that are being just completely overwhelmed by the volume of rainwater.
Road closures, I think MLK South is closed, parts of it.
Yes.
Tell us more about where the roads are closed.
Yeah, if you go to St. Pete PD, at St. Pete PD on Twitter, we are trying to keep updated road closure information, so encourage people to take a look at that for the most up-to-date road closures. But once you hit around 36th and MLK South, you're gonna find the road closed because of flooding. I've heard as the tides have been coming in a little bit right now, that there's some areas that are starting to see some higher water in the Snell Isle and the north side of town. But again, I encourage people to check out the Twitter site at St. Pete PD.
I was just driving on 22nd Avenue South, right at US 19 and 34th Street South, and I saw water bubbling up through a manhole in that intersection. What would that be?
Yeah, it's just it's the rainwater that's gotten into the stormwater system that's coming up, and again, we're doing everything we can to try and minimize all those things, but it's predominantly rainwater that you're seeing that's bubbling up right now.
And what can people do to minimize their impact?
If you live in a low-lying area and historically you've seen flooding, you may want to consider getting a sandbag if you've had water that's come up close enough to your house where you'd have a concern if we have more rain. Other than that, again, stay off the roads as much as possible, and stay out of areas where you see flooding. Don't take a chance that it's not as deep as you think it might be.
And finally, you've probably heard from emergency managers. What are some of the wind expectations?
We are expecting greater winds this afternoon. I don't think we're going to see anything. You may have occasional gusts in the 20 to 40, but I think beyond that, I don't think we're really expecting anything. We've been very fortunate, quite frankly, in that this storm took a turn and started heading more northward instead of heading west, which we would have felt the brunt of it. So, lucky for us, unfortunate for those communities that are going to have to deal with this.
Thanks so much for your